Hi, I'm Terry McDonald. I'm an artist here in Anacortes, and we're going to be doing an art project today that's going to be similar to the art of a very famous artist named Romero Brillo. You might want to Google him or look him up on the internet. He was born in Brazil but now lives in Miami, and he's the founder of the happy art movement. Happy art is just art that makes you happy. It's joyful, it's colorful, it's bold, and we're going to try to do something like that today. Here's an example of some of Romero Brillo's artwork. Here he did a lovely little teddy bear, actually two teddy bears. Bright, happy colors, lots of bold black lines dividing all of the colors and areas, geometric shapes, and lots of different design elements all throughout the painting. And that's what we're going to do today. Here's another example of something that Romero Brillo did. He just took the word love and he made the letters very colorful with geometric shapes, bold lines, bold colors, and lots of designs, and just took the word love to make it. We're going to do something similar today. First of all, let me show you what we're going to be working with. In the art package that you got from the Anacortes Arts Festival and the Anacortes Education Foundation, you had lots of different materials, and we're going to be working with a few of them today. I'm going to be painting my art on a canvas. I didn't have one exactly like what you have in your packet. Mine has sides on it. I have one, but it's just the wrong size. Yours will look more like this. It's rather flat, and it has a nice canvas surface. So you can use yours like this, or if you've already used it, you can just use some paper. Here I have some watercolor paper that's kind of sturdy, and I've done a lot of my projects on this watercolor paper. The paper that you have in your kit is more the size of a regular sheet of paper, and I would like you to fold it in half to use today, so we're not working on such a big project and we can get it done faster. And you can cut it in two if you would like. You're also going to need some pencils, just any pencils that you have, and an eraser. You can either use the eraser from the tip of your pencil. You can use one of these pink erasers that a lot of you have. I'm going to be using this eraser, which is called a kneaded eraser. It's kind of squishy and it changes shape, and this is the kind of eraser I like, but either one of these will work as well. You'll also need a paintbrush. You've got a paintbrush that came in your kit. There was one in with your paints, or you can use any paintbrush you have at your house if you have one you like better. I'm going to use this one. You're also going to need your paints, your acrylic paints that came in your kit, and you will also need a black marker. There was a black marker that came in your kit. Also, you're going to need some water and either a rag or some paper towels to wipe your brush on. If you want, if you would prefer, you can do your project with any of the other art supplies that you have. You can do it with watercolor, and I would suggest doing that one on paper, or you can use markers or the pastels, or you can mix them all up and have what we call a mixed media piece. So I'm going to show you kind of what we're going to do today. I got to thinking bright, happy colors, but gosh, adding all those designs in there, that looks like a lot of work. Maybe I should just do bright, happy colors and lines. So I drew a picture of an elephant, and I put lots of bold lines and geometric shapes, and I colored it lots of great colors. But it looked kind of boring. In fact, it looked so boring to me, I even had to add a few polka dots and a few stripes. So I thought, no, we really need to do the work and have those wonderful little designs in there. So I started working on a dog. And I thought, yes, this is what I want to do today. So this is kind of the project we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing a funny shaped dog. He looks pretty friendly, I think. Lots of bright colors, lots of geometric designs, or geometric shapes, and lots of beautiful designs. I've done this project several times, and I've done it a little differently each time. And I would suggest that after you do this project with me, you might want to try to do it many different times with lots of different designs yourself. So I'm going to put these dog examples that I've done already up here. I'm going to grab my canvas, or you can grab your paper, and let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is pick up our pencil. I'm going to put these erasers and pencil aside because I'm not using those. And pick up my pencil. I'm going to find the center of my canvas up at the very top, and I'm going to take my 2 fingers and measure down about 2 fingers, and about right here I'm going to put a little mark. This is where I'm going to start. So we're going to break this dog down into shapes as we draw him, and we're going to draw him with our pencil and put in lots of different lines and then take out some of the lines that we don't need. So here we go. Do you have your pencil ready? All right, let's go. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find that little mark that we made, and we're going to draw an oval or kind of an egg shape right here. And that shape is going to go down just about to the bottom of the shape is going to be right about in the center of the canvas. So the next shape we're going to draw is just kind of a funny ear. And for that, I'm just going to start up there. I'm going to go around, and I'm going to give him a long, droopy ear. I'm going to go over to the other side, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing on the other side. So he has some long, droopy ears. Now the next shape we're going to draw is a heart shape, but we're going to draw it upside down. But we're not going to put the 2 ends together at the bottom. So we're going to start with the upside down heart about right here on our doggy's face. And this is going to be the dog's snout or his nose and mouth. So we're going to start right here, and we're going to draw an upside down heart shape. We're going to bring it down. We're going to bring the curve up to the bottom of the oval shape and then back down again. See our upside down heart? We're going to bring it back up, but we're not going to bring those 2 ends together to make the little V end of our heart. Instead, we're going to just take that line and bring it up and curve that line over to where the ear starts. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. There we go. Now, I think this dog needs a nose. So I'm going to go right here at the tip of where the heart, little arches for the heart come together. And I'm going to draw an kind of a U shape. And then I'm going to put a straight line over the top. And then I'm going to put 2 little half circles on either side, and those are going to be his nostrils. Now I'm going to take my eraser, and I'm going to take out these lines that are in the bottom of the oval because we don't need those in there. I'm just going to erase those lines. If they show a little bit, it doesn't matter. Now, it's hot, it's summer, and it's a beautiful day outside, and the dog is kind of hot. And you know how dogs cool themselves? They pant. So this dog is saying, "Ugh, it's the dog days of summer. I'm hot. I'm going to cool down." So he's panting by sticking his tongue out. So we're just going to put a little U shape right here at the ends of the heart. And then we're going to draw a little line right down the middle. And there is his tongue. Now we're going to go up about halfway down on this little shape that we have here. And we're going to draw an upside down U, or kind of a half circle, just an upside down U, and put a straight line across. And we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now we have our dog's eyelids. Let's just put another half circle here, another half circle here, and then let's put another half circle on the inside. And in that half circle, let's put a full circle, a round little dot there. So this is the white of the dog's eye. This part right here is the iris, or the colored part of his eye. And this little round circle that we put in the middle, that's the pupil, or the hole that the dog sees out of his eye. And we're going to do the same thing over here. There we go. Now our dog has eyes. He's looking at us and he says, "Okay, let's finish me off here. Let's see what we can do." So let's add just a little cheekbone here. And then let's put a body on this dog. I'm going to go right up to where the snout and the chin kind of come together. And I'm just going to do kind of a curvy line all the way down to the bottom. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm not going to put it up quite as high. I'm going to put it down here. And another curvy line down. And our dog has a body. Now it's time to start adding some designs. I'm going to add kind of a wavy line in here and kind of a diagonal line, and that's one that kind of goes side to side, not up and down, that's vertical, or side to side this direction completely straight, that's horizontal, but a diagonal line kind of goes up and down at a kind of towards the side, and I'm going to just do a little line like that. So now we have 3 different areas we can put designs in. Let's see. Let's divide this area up just by putting a line there, and this area up by putting in a line here. And notice they're not exactly even. I don't want it to be even. I want it to be sort of uneven spaces. Now I'm going to go up and I'm going to add kind of some zigzaggy lines up here. And I've got another section for designs and one more zigzaggy line. Now I have another one. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different sections to put designs in. Now comes the fun part. We get to decide what designs we're going to put in our dog. And there are all sorts of options you can do. I'm going to tell you what I'm doing, but if you decide you want to do something else, that's just fine. And if I go too fast for you, you can always pause the video, catch up, and start watching it again. All right, so our first section, I'm going to put some stripes in my dog's body. And I'm going to do that just by drawing a whole bunch of parallel lines. That's 2 straight lines that don't touch each other but run in the same direction. And I'm going to put a whole bunch of parallel lines in here. There. Now I'll just color those in every other color and I'll have stripes. For this section, I love my dog, so I'm going to put hearts in here. But I'm not going to do all my hearts the same. This is kind of a medium-sized heart. This heart I'm going to make really big. Then I'm going to make a tiny little heart and another tiny little heart. Then over here, more of a medium size and tiny and tiny and another size, sort of medium, sort of tiny. And I filled this area up with hearts because I love my dog. Now I'm going to put polka dots in this section. Just a bunch of circles, just wherever I want to put them. I'm going to count my polka dots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's good. I have an uneven number. When I'm drawing designs, I often like to use uneven numbers because the eye kind of likes to see uneven numbers. And you know what an uneven number is? It's a number that ends in 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Or you can also tell if every one of your items does not have a buddy, you know it's an uneven number. So there's a buddy, 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 and there's one left over, so we know that that's an uneven number. So let's see. What does my dog like to do? Well, I don't know about you, but my dog likes to eat bones sometimes. He likes to chew on them and gnaw on them. So I think I'm going to put bones in his ear. Isn't that silly? So how do you draw a bone? Well, we're going to draw a heart shape again, but again, we're not going to put the ends of it together. So let's just draw a heart and leave those two ends separated. And we're going to draw two parallel lines, again, two straight lines that run side by side but don't touch. And then we're going to do an open heart shape again. And there we have a bone. So I'm going to put several bones in my dog's ear. What a silly dog. I'm not going to line them all up straight. I'm going to put them in at all sorts of different angles, just so it will be a little bit more interesting. And I think I'll put one more in, and I'm going to do this one on his side. So I'm going to turn my canvas so it's easier for my hand to do it. There we go. How many bones do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Buddy, buddy, nobody. Uneven number. That's great. My dog also likes to chase balls and bring them back. He loves to play fetch. So I'm going to put some tennis balls right here in my dog's ear. All right, there's a lot of little kind of polka dots, but they don't look much like tennis balls, do they? Just by adding a couple little lines, we can make them look more like tennis balls or maybe even baseballs, but that's okay. We'll paint them green, so then we'll know that they're tennis balls. There we go. And let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh no! This has a buddy, this has a buddy, this has a buddy, this has a buddy. That's an even number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's an even number. And I really like to have uneven numbers in my designs. So I'm going to add one more tennis ball. Now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 tennis balls. That's an uneven number. Okay. Next, I'm going to go up here And I'm going to pretend it's the sky, and I'm going to draw a star. Just going to draw a star like this. If you have trouble drawing stars like that, sometimes it's easier to draw them by making kind of an upside down V and then putting your pencil over on the end and bringing it up diagonally over to the other side, then taking it straight across and then diagonally back down. So you can see the lines in the middle, but that's okay. We won't worry about that. So you can draw your stars kind of like I do, or using the kind of fun way to do it, where you start with a V and add your shapes in. And notice I'm making all of these stars different sizes. We want variation in our design. Variation just means things that are different from each other. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's probably enough stars. So over here, I'm going to put some flowers. You can put flowers here. If you don't want to put flowers, you can put something else. You can put diamonds or squares or anything you can think of. Butterflies, robots, whatever you want. And I'm just going to put another uneven number, but a smaller uneven number here. 1, 2, 3. And right in the center, I'm going to just put some funny little swirls. A little itsy bitsy one there, and an itsy bitsy one there, and an itsy bitsy one there. Okay, I have designs all over the place, except I don't have a design here, and I do want to fill everything up. So I'm going to put more stripes over here, but this time, instead of being diagonal lines, I'm going to do vertical lines, or straight up and down. And I'm just going to simply draw a line all the way down, draw another one, and another one, and then I'm just going to keep filling up this area with straight lines till I get to the top. And now I just have one more section. Oh my gosh, what should I do? There's so many things that we could do. I think I'm just going to put some triangles. A big triangle. Remember what a triangle is? It has 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. It's a shape with 3 sides. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, maybe I need another one. I'm going to put one up here, and one right here, and one right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now I have my drawing done. Now you have a choice of what you want to do. You can either take your black marking pen, or if you would prefer to use the paint, you can open up the black paint. These are kind of hard to get open, so if you need some help, you can ask an adult. There we go. You can open up your black paint. And what I want to do now is, first of all, go in and see if there are any lines that need to be erased. I don't really see any, except I'm going to erase a couple of these lines inside my stars. There. Now I'm going to use my black marker, because I find that making the black geometric lines, and remember, Romero Brillo, he has lots of dark, bold geometric lines that divide all of the spaces in his paintings or drawings. So we're going to do the same thing, because we're doing an art that's based on Romero Brillo. So we're going to go in, and we're just going to take our marker and simply draw over all of our lines in our whole drawing. Go over the little swirly pieces here. I'm starting at the top and working down. That's just so I have a tendency not to miss things quite so easily if I start at the top and work rather methodically all the way down. You know, I mentioned when I was introducing you to Romero Brillo that he is an artist who's very famous and he has lots of work out there, and you may have seen some of his work because he's one of the most licensed artists in the world today. And by that we mean that people pay him to put his designs on their products. So like a mug or a piece of fabric that somebody makes into a shirt or something like that, or any kind of product at all. And that's just one way that artists can make money from their art. Other than just simply selling their original drawings they do, they can make money on letting people print their art. Being an artist is a fun profession. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to draw around each one of these bones. And again, if I'm going too fast for you and you feel like you're getting behind, just stop the video, put it on pause, and then you can come back and join us again. Okay, I've got to get the top of his head. Get his other ear. Now it's time for his eyes. I'm going to do his eyelid and the line around his iris, and I'm just going to color his pupil in all black. Now if you're painting, it might look a little like this. It's a little harder to control the straight black lines with your paintbrush, but it gives it a whole different look. So you might want to experiment. Either way is just fine. Now let's color or mark or draw around his nostrils and his nose. I'm going to do this first little diamond, and then I'm going to put the line down for his body, his tongue, other line, stripes, I'm going to do the little triangles. We're going to fill each one of these geometric space or these spaces and these fun designs in with bright, beautiful color. We're almost ready to start painting. Drawing those hearts. Show my dog I love him. that, and I am almost ready to paint. There we go. Look at our dog. That you can see the design really well now, and it has lots of great design elements, and it's just a fun drawing. I hope you're happy with yours. I'm going to fan mine just a little to be sure that the paint or the markers are completely dry, and I'm ready to paint. I'm going to move some of these things out of my way. It's always nice to have a very clear workspace when you're painting or drawing. I'm going to close up my black because I think I'm through with that, and I'm going to open up the colors that I'm going to be using. I'm going to open up, and this is not an easy task. Again, you may need to have an adult help you. I'm going to open up our red, our yellow, our green, dark blue, and purple. There are the colors we're going to be using. I got paint all over my hands, so I'm just going to wipe it off on my rag or my paper towel that I have handy. I don't remember if I mentioned to you, but you need a bucket of water. So I'm going to get my water right here. Now I'm left-handed, so I'm setting my bucket of water on my left-hand side. So when I'm ready to clean out my brush, all I have to do is reach over here and clean it out. If you're right-handed, you might want to put your little bucket or can of water or glass of water, whatever you're using, on your right-hand side so it's easy for you to reach over and clean out your brush. When you clean out your brush, you need to really be sure you clean it out well, and then wipe it on your rag or your paper towel to be sure you get all of the other paint out of it. That way your colors won't smear together and get kind of a yucky gray color. Okay, we are ready to go. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to start at the top so my hand isn't dragging through all of my painting. So I'm going to start right up here with my stars, and of course I'm going to paint those stars yellow, but if you would rather paint your stars a different color, you can. I'm just going to put some paint on my brush. You can see I have quite a bit of paint on it, but I don't want it to be globby. If it gets kind of globby, I kind of use the side of my little container to wipe some off. I'm just going to go in and I'm going to kind of carefully add some yellow color on the inside of the stars. And do that on each one of the stars. There we go. Now I'm going to wash out my brush. I'm going to wash it out really well. I'm going to dab it off on my paper towel or my rag till my brush is clean. You can see that my bristles on my brush are nice and clean. So now I'm going to decide what color I want in here, and I think I'm going to make it look kind of like a sky, but I'm going to make it kind of a weird sky. I'm going to make it a purple sky. And I'm going to just take my paints and I'm going to paint purple in my sky. Sometimes if I have a little bit more paint on my brush, it looks a little darker than it does in other areas. And you can, if you want it to be a little darker after the paint is dried, you can always go over it again and put another coat of paint on it. There we go. I have a nice purple sky and some beautiful stars in my sky. Now I'm going to clean out my brush. I'm going to decide what color do I want the background here. Got all these great swirls in here. I think I'm going to color this area green. You can make yours green like mine, or you can make it any color you want. Now this one I'm not going to worry about anything. I'm just going to go right over my swirls that I have in there and color the entire space green. And again, this paint doesn't cover real well, so I think when it's all done, if you want it to be really bright, you may want to color over this, paint over these again. Or you could use some of your markers, or you could use some of the pastels that are in your kit. Over here, I'm going to decide what do I want my flowers to look like. I think I want some bright red flowers, so I'm going to paint their petals red. And I find doing little small areas like this, sometimes it's easier just to sort of dab my brush rather than doing a real stroke. So just sort of dab paint in there. Dab, 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 dab. There we go. All right, again, I'm going to clean out my brush really good. Wipe it off on my rag, and I'm going to put yellow in the centers of all of my flowers. Just dab, 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 dab. Now I'm going to take this really bright blue that we have, and I'm going to color in the background around the flowers a nice bright blue. If you don't like the lines that you get in your paint, just sort of let it dry and then go back over it again, and you'll cover up some of those lines. Sometimes with painting it takes more than one layer to get your desired effects. We'll just do one layer in this video, but if you want to go back after your painting is dried and put on another coat or another layer, you certainly can do that. And I smeared a little bit of my red and blue together, and it kind of made some purple color, but that's okay. I'm going to move this around so it's easier to get to and I don't get my hands in it. I'm going to finish off this section. There we go. The top of my painting is already done. Now, most bones are kind of white, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave my bones, the center part of my bones, white, and I'm just going to paint around it. And I think I'm going to use this bright red to do that. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to fill in my ear with this nice bright red I have, just going up to the edges of the lines. I'm going to fill in the entire area of the ear. Use a little more paint. Smooth out my lines a bit. Some of my purple is kind of running into my red, so I'll smooth over that, but that just kind of gives it a nice shading. Just gives it a little dimension, or it makes the ears look more realistic. Okay, going around all of these little areas with the paintbrush is kind of tedious, but you're going to love the effect. It's a little easier sometimes with a marker or a crayon. I got a little outside the line, so I just wiped a little of it off with my finger, but really and truly it didn't matter. All right, now I'm going to go over, and I think I want the other ear to be, do I want it to be red too, or do I want it to be another color? Might be kind of fun if it was a different color. I think I'll paint this ear. Well, first of all, I know I want to color in my tennis balls. I want my tennis balls to be green, because most of the tennis balls I have are green. Not exactly this color of green, but they're close. Now they look like tennis balls. Okay, so my background color, what color do I want it? I think I'm going to color it yellow. So I'm just going to go in and make his other ear yellow. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen too many dogs with a red ear and a yellow ear, but that's what makes this art and what makes it fun. It's because your imagination can make it any color you want. Again, you can pause your video and catch up with me if you'd like. All right, now I'm going to move over to his face, and I am going to paint, my eyes are green, so I think my dog needs to have green eyes too. If your eyes are blue, you might want to color your dog's eyes blue, and if your eyes are brown, you might want to color your dog's eyes brown, or you can make them any color you want. So now I'm going to paint this eyelid the same color as this ear, and this eyelid the same color as this ear. So this one's going to be yellow. Wash out my brush, get some red paint, and I'm going to paint this eyelid red. And while I have the red on my brush, I'm going to go down and paint my dog's tongue red too. There we go. Now I think just for fun, I'm going to alternate these colors. So I'm going to take the blue from the background and paint this little area around his eye blue.
And I'm going to wash out my brush. I'm going to dab it off on my rag, and be sure to do that because if it gets too much water, then it'll get too soupy and your colors will run together. And then I'm going to take the purple that's up there and I'm going to put that in this area right here. There we go. I'm going to leave this part of his face white, and I'm going to go into my black and I'm going to paint his little nose black, and then his nostrils. What color should I paint his nostrils? I think maybe I will color them yellow. What a silly dog. All right, I'm going to start working on the rest of my designs here and work from the outside in. First of all, I'm going to maybe make some of these triangle shapes different colors. There's a couple that are blue, a couple that are red, a couple that are yellow. By the way, did you know that red, blue, and yellow are called primary colors? And that means that you can take those colors and mix almost any other color that you would like. There we go. I have those in there, and now I'm going to take a little bit of the green and I'm going to color this section in green. For instance, if I were to take the primary colors of red and yellow and mix those together, what would I get? I'd get a really pretty orange. And if I were to mix the red and the blue together, I'd get a really pretty purple. And if I were going to mix the blue and the green together, or blue and the yellow together, I already told you what you're going to get. You'd get a green. You want to play around with that after you're done with your painting and see if you can mix up some colors that you like. There we go. Now I'm going to go over here to the other side and I'm going to do stripes. I think I'm going to do alternating. That means every other one. Red. So first of all, I'll paint this area here red all the way down. And then I'm going to skip the next spot and I'm going to put red right in this area. I'm going to alternate then. I'm going to skip that area and go to the next area and paint it red. And then the next area, skip an area, the next area, and there we go. I've got half of my stripes in. Now I'm going to, let's see, what color do I want? I think I will do purple. So the next, now I'm going to fill in all those lines that I left white with the purple, and I've got purple and red alternating stripes. There we go. touch up a couple little areas where I left some white. Nice. All right, we are just about done here. We have more stripes over here, so I don't want them to be the same color stripes, so I think I'm going to go in and alternate blue. So I'm going to go up here and put blue as my first color. And then I'm going to skip a spot, put blue in the next spot. Notice I'm not changing colors between each stripe because that's just too much changing back and forth. I'm just first of all doing all the blue stripes, and then I will do whatever color I put in next, which I think might be yellow. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to skip a spot. Paint it blue here, a little more paint. You can put more paint on your brush whenever you need it, but don't get too much paint on there or it's easier to make a big mess. There we go, all of the blue stripes. Clean out my brush really well, because if I mixed up those yellows and blues, what would I have? I would have green. Okay, yellow, yellow. Ooh, it's mixing with a little there. I've got a little bit of blue. I'm gonna clean out my brush because I mixed up my blue and my yellow a little bit. See, it's trying to turn green there, but I don't care. Oh, it's really mixing here. I think I had too much water on my brush. Oh my gosh, I made a little bit of a mess. So I'm just going to take my rag and kind of dab it out. It's always okay to make a mess. Sometimes accidents happen and you can just let it dry and paint over it. That's one of the nice things about acrylics. Yeah, that looks a little green, but that's okay. If we'd have waited a little longer to put in the stripes when the blue was dry, then we wouldn't be having this trouble, but we had to do a fast video, so we're not. One more stripe here, one more stripe down here, and those stripes are done. I'm going to come back in a minute and kind of fix this one a little when it's a little drier. Now I think we'll do some hearts here. What color should we make our hearts? Maybe they should be all different colors too, like we had them over here. So let's paint the big one red, one big red heart. And a little one over here that'll be red. Maybe one more right here. Then I'll wash out my brush. And I'll do one green. And another green one. And I'll wash out my brush. And I'll do a blue one. Maybe I'll do 3 blues. And I'll do a couple yellow ones. Yeah, maybe I'll finish them off with yellow. I think I'm going to let those dry. They look pretty wet, and move down here and do my polka dots next, and then come up and put in the background. So what color should I make my polka dots? I think I will make them purple because I think I'm going to use purple for my background here. So I'm going to make all of my polka dots purple. Then, so I don't drag my hand through my paint, I'm going to turn my canvas around a little so this wet part is over here and I can kind of work this area a little easier. I'm going to go in and I'm going to start in with my purple. And I got way too much paint on my brush, so I'm going to wipe some of it off on the edge of my container till I get a better amount of purple paint on there. Ooh, these look pretty. The blue and the red are bleeding in, and I have just a rainbow of colors in here, and I love it. This area is kind of small, so it's hard to kind of paint with a pretty large paintbrush like this. But we will do the best we can. And oh, I'm loving the way that's all rainbow colors. There we go. That section is done. And our final little section down here, I see I have a drop of water here. I'm just going to take off. I'm going to paint my final section yellow, and then our painting will be almost done. Now, of course, you may have different colors for some of your design elements than I do, and that's great. So your painting will look very different than mine. All right, all of that is painted in, and my painting is almost done, but there are a couple little things I want to do. I want to find my marker again, and I want to give my dog some freckles. So I'm just going to take my marker and I'm just going to make dots, little tiny dots on the nose of my dog. Snout right there, just some little dots, and that gives him just a little bit of character. And then I'm going to give him some little curly hairs up on the top of his head, and he is done. Now when this painting is completely dry, I think you should take your black marker and sign your name on it. For instance, I'll take one of these paintings that I did before, and I don't sign my name. I don't write Terry McDonald on mine. I just use my initials. So I write T for Terry, L for my middle name, which is Lee, and M for McDonald. So you can do your initials, you can write your first name, your last name, whatever you would like. Now, as you can tell, these paintings were very similar, but they look kind of different. Now the paint is very bright, but it's more transparent than the markers were, and I did this one with markers. Here is another one that I did with markers. Very similar, different colors, different brightnesses, but they're similar, but they're different. Now, one thing I did on both of these that maybe I should have done on this dog, and you may want to fill in later, is maybe fill in this little area right here. See, this one I made it green. Oh, this one was green. Oh no, this one was purple too. So whatever. I encourage you to do this again. Do it 2 or 3 times, and it'll look different every time. you don't have to just do dogs. After you've kind of learned this technique, you can do teddy bears or elephants or words like Romero Brillo did. You don't have to do small pieces of artwork like we did here. You can do some that are bigger. Here is a big one that I did on paper. It's great big, so you might want to try that. This one is a cat. I've also done it with flowers and hearts. So there's all sorts of ideas that you can do using this happy art with lots of designs, lots of colors, lots of black lines and geometric shapes. Be sure to remember to look up Romero Brillo on Google or on the internet, or have your parents help you with that and learn more about him and see what he has done, and have fun painting. That's all for now. Bye-bye.